Hello everyone, we're here today with another amazing artist. Everybody, Nat Kelly. So tell me, what do you do musically, Nat?
So I am a singer-songwriter and a singer, acoustic singer around like Liverpool City. So I do like the pubs and the clubs and the restaurants and whatever.
How long have you been doing that for?
So I've been doing that since I was about 19. So about 6 years. 6 years in the city.
6 years in
I
the
moved
city.
over here for university and studying music and stuff. And then that sort of got me into playing music on the scene.
Where did you come from?
I'm originally from Ireland.
Woo, everybody!
Yeah.
Island, comment down below. Do you come from a musical family, or was it something that you grew into and you were the rule breaker in the family?
I would say it's definitely started that way because there was no one in my family that was musical at all. I think my mum thought it was a phase. I think I was 5 asking for a guitar for my 6th birthday.
Wow, seriously?
That's how young I started teaching myself, when I was
Oh,
quite young.
5 years old.
Yeah.
Starting guitar. You literally asked for a guitar.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
for my
amazing.
6th birthday, yeah.
Wow,
I was one of those
amazing.
kids for Christmas, like I didn't get like Barbie dolls and prams and things. I got like musical instruments and drum kits and keyboards, yeah. But growing up, like I was the only one that done music, and it was a bit of I was always sitting in my bedroom. My parents were going, what's she always doing up there? But I was always just sitting on the guitar and singing, and I loved it. But I have a younger sister who's like almost 10 years younger than me. And in the past maybe 2-3 years, she's really gotten into learning how to play the drums. And she is absolutely fantastic. Like, she is world class. She's better than me.
That's great.
I'm only saying that once. That's funny. But she is fantastic, and she has just turned 16 as well. Is she 16? Is she 15?
Wow, it's amazing.
So she's unbelievable. She's really good. She is. So now there's 2 of us in the family. There's 2 out of 4 kids now.
Would you be able to say what was the point that you become a musician? Was there a point, or was it like a gradual kind of thing that you grew into it?
To be honest, I think it was when I was very much first aware of music. I was quite young, maybe 4 or 5, and I just always felt like that was my path in life. That was always what I was going to do. I thought when you were young, you decided what you wanted to be when you were older, and you just stuck to that.
Yeah.
So when I was that young, that's always what I wanted to be. So I've always thought of myself as a musician, but as a professional musician, as a working musician, someone who gets paid. That the turning point was, I was at uni, and I was working as a PR for McCooley's, and so I remember standing outside, and I was always asking people to come in, and I was always hearing the live music that was on inside. And I remember going to one of the managers, like, these bands are shit. What's going on, man? Like, who organises the music? And he's like, I do. And I was like,
that's awkward.
Get me in. Like, what are you doing? He was like, why, what do you play, the triangle? Like, just taking the piss. So I was like, no, like, I actually play guitar and I sing. I'm in uni for music. And he was like, yeah, we'll see. And then there was one day, someone showed up like 30 minutes late for a gig, and was just really rude about it, the artist was, and the manager just said, nah, do you know what, mate, do one, like, I'll get someone else to do the gig. And he went, like, do you want to jump on? So I was like, wow. Okay, yeah, cool, yeah. So I think I done like maybe an hour, maybe just over an hour, and he was like, yeah, that was alright. And then I think within like 2 weeks he offered me an open mic night, and then from then it was like gig after gig, another venue, and then it got too much with the uni work, so I quit my job as a PR, and it was like, it was very scary, like going and handing my wee notice. Like, I wasn't earning much money from being a PR, maybe doing 3 or 4 shifts a week, but it was still my little income while I was a student, which I very much depended on. So that moment of being like, right, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to hand in my notice and take a leap of faith and just go for it, bite the bullet. That was like the turning point, because it was like, okay, I've done this now. I've got 2 weeks to secure my gigs, make them residencies, maybe get a few more venues under my wing. And I think once I'd done that and I was secure, it maybe only took a couple of weeks, and I'm sure for maybe some people it takes less or maybe longer. But once that happened for me, I felt like, yeah, okay, I'm a musician now.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
what I want to do.
Yeah.
So it was probably a gradual kind of gradual move that you
It
grew
was a
into
gradual
it.
process of actually becoming a musician, but in terms of knowing what I wanted to do, it was always there. And I think I've been very lucky in that sense, because I know that there's a lot of my friends that are 25, 26, even 27 that are still going, I don't actually know what I want to do with my life. And I've been very lucky, whereas 100%. From such a young age, from single figures, I've known that's what I want to do, and I've beeline for it. There's been nothing else that's ever come into consideration. No other career paths that I've ever considered taking. It's always been musician.
Yeah, I think that's an absolute gift in my opinion.
Yeah.
Honest to God, because as you said, because a lot of the times you're just bombarded with all these information from different angles. Should I do this? Should I do this? Should I do that? You know what I mean? But
and even the way like the school systems are, they expect you to know what you want to do by the age of 16, so you can choose your subjects and go and do this and take your A levels in these particular subjects and go to university with these and get your degree in it. But looking back as a 25-year-old woman, like if I wasn't so lucky and knew that I wanted to be a musician, I'd be going, what am I supposed to do? There's so many options. Like how is a 16-year-old supposed to navigate the rest of their life?
Don't even get me started on the schooling system.
I could talk to you for hours about the schooling system and how I could probably run it better, but it's a different conversation, isn't it?
No, I agree. Is there any specific genre that you have any kind of gravitation toward? Like, is it pop, or is it just you say no? There's no genres. I want to be who I want to be. I want to be a mixture of everything.
To be honest, I with what I listen to, it's it's a range. If it's got a good beat and good lyrics, I'll listen to it. But I am an absolute sucker for like R&B, hip hop, rap, especially like early 2000s, late 90s. Like that holds a special place in my heart. Like they're my jams. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Like that's the kind of music I love. But the kind of music I write, I don't know. It just depends on what day. I think, and I think as well, pop music, to label things as do you do pop, whatever. Nowadays the range of what is pop, because pop is just short for popular. What's in the charts? You have R&B, hip hop, you've blues,
100%.
You've got 100%. Indie music and things like that. So it's very, very mixed of what you want to call pop, because pop right now could be pop rock or anything like that.
I agree. The
rap.
definition of genre is just fading away.
I think so. I
agree with you on that one. Even look at the musicians who are on top of the chart, like Dua Lipa, The Weeknd. They have so many different influences from so many different places.
Absolutely.
And I think it's good to not to be tied up, especially like in this era, to not want a specific genre.
Yeah.
Maybe. Do you play any instruments?
Yeah, I play guitar. I play a little bit of piano, not much. And I can give the drums a little rattle, but not to the extent that my little sister can. She's definitely the drummer of the family. She's got me there. But I've just played the guitar really.
Do you think it's essential as a musician to be able, for example, for a singer or for a songwriter, to be able to play any instrument?
I think it really, really helps. I know that there are some people that do it that they don't play any instruments, and they're quite successful at it. Sometimes it can help to have friends who play. Have friends that they're close to you, so if you're sitting chilling, vibing, whatever, you have lyrics that come to your head, and you go, oh, I think this would fit with this melody, and he goes, oh yeah, I can play that. You work together with another person. That's someone external coming in, but I think it really does help with myself, with when I'm writing music or even practicing covers for the first time. Like, I don't like to do it in public. I don't like to do it in company. So it's a very personal thing for me. Okay. So being able to do that for yourself and learning how to maybe produce or use a couple of softwares and stuff. It's not essential, but it's important. It's a good tool to have.
Do you use any post-production or even production softwares?
Well, I actually work with a producer at the
Okay.
minute, and he's kind of trying to teach me how to do it because I'm releasing my first single very
Alright.
soon.
Oh, your first single.
Yeah.
Do you want to say what's it called?
Yeah. Okay. So it's called Dark Fruits.
It's called.
Dark Fruits.
Oh, right. Okay. Is
Yeah.
that something personal or is that something?
No, it's actually really silly. Like it was something I started writing in lockdown because I had nothing better to do, and it was just a funny thing. I was just
Okay.
writing about a pint of dark fruits, you know.
Okay.
So it just turned into a bit of a bop.
So is it something that more toward the vibe of the song, or is it something that more toward the
Yeah.
lyric?
Yeah, a little bit lyrical. It's just more fun, if anything. It's just a bit of a, like, it just started as a joke. Like, I think I was just sitting with one of my mates and I started playing this and just like this little, like, melody on the guitar. And I just said, like, okay, I just strummed on a Valium, you know what I mean? And we turned it into a song and I was like, this is really cool. So I think I spent like 25 minutes on it. And I just went, oh my God, like, yeah, this could be something. The more people I showed it to, they were pissing, laughing, and then they were like,
right.
it's funny, but it's actually like, it's a good song. And then I showed it to my mum, and that was the one thing I was like, oh God, like there's a bit of swearing in this, it's talking about alcohol. I was like, she's not going to be happy. And she was like, oh my God, well
Really?
done. Yeah, she thought the song was class. So
It's coming soon on November. Okay. Was your family supportive of what you do?
absolutely. Well, I wouldn't say that they're unsupportive because they've always pushed me to pursue the music because it's always been something that I've excelled in. So there has been a couple of conversations. I think my mum would love me to be a teacher. She'd love me to be a music teacher, and
Okay.
I think she looks at this as something like just for now and not permanent, whereas I see this as my career. But she's absolutely supportive. You know, she loves the fact that I go and chase my dreams, and like, and my dad as well. Like, anytime I'm on the phone, he's like, yeah, I'm so proud of you. You know, I'm so proud. So they are very supportive.
So would you say if they weren't supportive, your music career would have a different like path or different way?
I would
Or would
love
you
to
be
say,
discouraged
I
of
would
following
love to
like
say
this
that
path?
it would have been, but I think I was a bit of a rebel. Sorry, Mum, but I think I just would have chased it anyway. Even if she had said, no, you're going to be a nurse or you're going to be a teacher, I would have been like, watch me. No, I'm not. You know.
So it's important to be determined.
Yeah.
This is what I want to do.
Yeah,
You know what I
like
mean? Because
there's no point in chasing this because it's a hard industry to break into, first of all. So there's no point in going for it and putting all that effort in if it's just something that only half of your heart wants. You need to have your whole heart in it, your whole heart and soul, and everything in between.
yeah.
You know, you need to want it. You need to want it more than anyone wants it for you. You know?
That's actually a great point. One of the things that I want to say is that as a human being and as an individual, I gotta realize I want to follow a path, and there's literally nobody in the entire world that wants to go on that path. Nobody has that vision. Nobody would understand, and I should not. That's my perspective, by the way. Nobody should understand, and I shouldn't expect from anybody to understand and see my vision, because that's my vision, that's my goal. So I gotta put the effort in. I gotta put the time in to be able, even if it's your sister, your father, parents, siblings, doesn't matter who he or she is, it's my job to make sure that I got there.
100%.
According to what you said.
And I'd say that I've very much done that. You know, like my parents, you know, I've said, you know, once you're 18 and you're out of the house, you know, you do you, and they're very much, they want you to stand on your own 2 feet. So I don't get, you know, a lot of financial help or anything, and anything that I have in my life and any career, like things that I've achieved, that's all been down to hard work and hard work that I've put in myself. I haven't had pushy parents breathing down my neck saying, you need to do this, you need to do that. That's been me breathing down my own neck saying, I need to do this, I need to do that, because this is my goal, this is where I want to be. I'm sure my parents would be happy if I got a 9 to 5 and I was just content in life and whatever, but they see me doing my thing and they're happy enough to watch me and encourage me and support me, but they're not pushing and saying, you need to do this. That's on my back. That's on no one else's back. So I agree with you there.
Self-driven, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. You actually touched upon something very interesting about the financial aspect of being a musician, because I think it's a very tricky and critical point to mention out to everybody that so how do you support yourself financially? Like while you're doing music, how do you support yourself financially? Is that something that you struggle with as a musician because it takes your focus away to a job, or how does it work with you?
Well, with me, I am like solely doing gigs, so that's my whole income. So if obviously if you're working enough and you're doing enough gigs, then you're financially secure, and that's fine. And a lot of the time it's good to invest the money that you make in your music back into your music. So say for example, like if you have like a £200 guitar and it's okay and it does the job, like go and splurge that little extra on that guitar that you've always wanted, because I guarantee you it'll last longer, it'll sound better, and you'll enjoy your job better.
Definitely, I agree.
You know what I mean? So I think it's when you're making your money in music, spend it in your music again, invest it back into your career. Don't just go and blow it and whatever. Of course, pay your bills and treat yourself and buy nice clothes and whatever, go have nice food and drinks and socialise, but make sure that a good chunk of that goes back into your music, because that's where you're going to keep making that money from.
True, very true.
The grass grows where you water it.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would say you not regretted, but in a way that you wish that if you would have done it the other way around, you would have made a lot of money? Like, for example, you see yourself, I know I'm smart. I know if I was, for example, a scientist, I would be making shitloads of money right now. But I made a decision to be a musician and I'm in the position that I'm right now. Does that come to your mind? Does that?
No. I think the only thing that comes to my mind is when you're talking about if I had done this differently, maybe I could have been a millionaire or maybe had a bit of a better career. Just before lockdown, I was on the Little Mix The Search show.
Oh, okay.
So I was a contestant on that, and I made it to the live auditions.
Wow, amazing.
And it was one of the producers that had convinced me to sing a specific song, and I actually wanted to sing a different one.
Okay. How did that go?
And you know, the audition went really well. Like it honestly, like I had a ball with the girls. Like Little Mix were lovely, they were amazing, and they were so down to earth. Like I felt as though they were just as nervous meeting me as I was meeting them.
Yeah.
So the audition itself actually went really well, and I sang a Little Mix song mashed up with Nicki Minaj's Super Bass.
Wow.
And that was actually one of their first performances on the X Factor. That was one of the songs that they sang. And then Shout Out to My Ex was the song that I sang, the Little Mix song. And it was like their first big like global #1. So I had merged those together in a previous audition, because you do quite a few before you get onto the TV stage. And I had merged that together and done a little rendition, and they were like, oh, that's amazing, we think you should do that in front of Little Mix. And I was like, I kind of want to do, because I wanted to do American Boy by Estelle and Kanye West. And I was like, I kind of want to do this. I think this is more my vibe, this is more me. And
I think it's kind of harder to do like somebody's songs in front of them.
I know, because like they wanted me to sing Little Mix in front of Little Mix, and it was like,
because I think the critique mind just turns on automatically when you're singing their song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I couldn't look them in the eye. I was like, oh my god, it was frightening. But then again, like how many people can say that they went and sang a Little Mix song in front of Little Mix and got great feedback from it?
Yeah.
So
100%.
I sang the song, it went really well, and then the critiques started coming in, and I think it was Perry that started first, and she just went, I'm going to kick this off. She was like, first of all, love the song choice, obviously. She was like, Little Mix, perfect. And then she was just like, to be honest, she was like, I'm just going to be bluntly honest with you. She was, because the show was all about putting solo artists into bands, because that's what happened to them when they were on X Factor. They all auditioned as solo artists and got put into Little Mix. So they wanted to do this with their show.
Okay.
So I went on as a solo artist to be put into a band, and Perry was just like, nah, you're a solo artist. I don't see you in a band. And when I'm thinking of the other bands that we're putting into place, like I don't think that you fit into them. And then Leanne was just like, yeah, I actually kind of agree with that. I think, you know, you're very much a solo artist, and as much as I was like, oh my god, this breaks my heart, like I'm not going to go on this show, I took in what they were saying. I was like, yeah, okay, fair enough. Like that's sort of everyone's dream anyway, like to be good enough to be on your own.
Sure.
And then Jessie was like, yeah, girl, I'm all about the voice. I love it. It's raw. It's raspy. The tattoos. Oh my God. I love the fashion. Like, she was a little doll. Like, she was just hyping me up. But she was like, I agree. I think solo artist. And then it came to Jade. And she was so lovely. Gave me lovely advice. She said, listen, Nat, you know, when I was 16, before I went on X Factor, she was like, I was doing gigs for pizza slices for 60 quid. You know, just keep going because you are going to get there. She was like, I don't think this is the last time that we're going to see each other either. She was like, honestly, you have something so special. So work at it, keep going. But in this case, like, there isn't a place in a band for you. You're a solo artist. And she's like, oh, and we wouldn't want to hold you back from being that solo artist. Which I think was really lovely of them to do. As much as it broke my heart, it really did, because I'm like #1 Little Mix fan, like diehard fan. It broke my heart, but I understand it wasn't my path, it wasn't my time, and to hear that feedback of, no, you can do this on your own from people who are absolutely killing it, like worldwide, like that was a massive win for me.
Is there any pressure from music industry that you feel like on yourself, like varying certain stuff, saying certain stuff, or behaving in a certain way?
I don't really know. With me, I just do myself, and if people have a problem with it, then they can walk away. You know, I just sort of am unapologetically myself, so I don't really conform to any behaviors that people think that I should uphold. Like, I'm not trying to be anyone's role model. I'm just trying to play music and live my life. So in that sense, no. But I think there are some pressures. I think social media brings a lot of pressure into it, because, you know, you can see what your peers and who else you're working with, you can see all of their success. And what as well, people will post, no one's posting their shit gigs. You know, no one's posting their gigs where there's only 8 people in the whole bar. You know, people are going to post the best content and the best of, you know, what's happening in their life, and fair play to them. Yes, go ahead. I'll be your biggest supporter. But sometimes as well, you're looking at that and going, shit, am I doing enough? Like, should I be doing this? You know, am I not good enough? And you start to put this sort of self-doubt on yourself, because these facts and figures and numbers are right there on your phone screen, and it's so easy to just look and tap on someone's story and say, oh, that was an amazing gig, oh, brilliant, oh, brilliant stuff. Maybe my gig should be a bit better, maybe I should be doing this. Like, there is a constant pressure of you should be doing more, and then the whole TikTok coming in. TikTok is massive now. Like, 100%. I think I'm slightly even out of touch with it, you know what I mean? It's I didn't get into it in lockdown where everyone had the time to like figure it out, like, so I'm not savvy on it at all, and it's completely taken over, and I'm like, need to get in my head in the game, because it's blowing up. Like, it's taking people who were just sitting in their bedroom and it's making them global superstars, like, overnight. So it's one thing I need to sort of work on, but it's these pressures, you know what I mean? I should be on this, I should be doing this, and it's hard to be like, okay, well, this is my path, this is what I'm doing, I'm comfortable with what I'm doing, and I'm taking on as much as I can cope, just one day at a time, one step at a time, and you will get there.
I agree. The kind of vibe that I'm getting from you is that you know what exactly you want to do.
Yeah.
You're determined, and you're confident about it, and you want to take it as a journey rather than just going to the top, like, in one day.
Absolutely. It's all about the journey, and it's in enjoying those steps of progression, you know, enjoying that. Like, I remember the first time I done like a festival rather than just a gig in a bar, and I was like, wow, this is a whole different, like, it's a whole different world. It's really cool. And then doing the TV thing as well, and it was stepping into a new part of it, and it was all so fascinating, like the progression and the journey. It's lovely to work on, and I think if overnight I shot to fame, it would, you know, you would go into shock, you wouldn't know how to react to it, and if you do it gradually, and it just becomes a part of your lifestyle and your living and your way of thinking, and, you know, obviously obstacles are going to come in the way, but you learn to tackle them along the way. So evolution, you become the best version of yourself.
Absolutely,
and
I agree.
have the best outcome that you want to have.
What's your approach to social media? How do you see social media? Has it helped you personally as an artist?
Absolutely, I think.
How do you use it?
So to promote gigs, to promote you know if I post videos and stuff and like on my Instagram or on my Facebook or whatever, you know, obviously with not being from the city, you know, I haven't got my school friends or my friends that I used to play out with or my family, my cousins and aunties, uncles, grannies, grandpas, family, friends, whatever. I haven't got these people going around the city going, oh, get on this girl, oh, she's amazing, get her in this bar. You know, I'm basically a foreigner over here, like no one knew who I was, so breaking into getting into these wee bars and maybe having a couple of videos online and whatever, it's 1000% helped me. It absolutely has. And I think my approach to it is like I've had, as I said before, it's so easy to compare yourself to other people, but I'm not other people. I'm not that person, and that person's journey is so different to mine, and you need to remember that. And it's just about grounding yourself and going, oh yeah, that's amazing that they're doing that. Maybe one day I'll do that. Maybe I won't. Maybe that's my path. Maybe it isn't. But you know, you just got to stay focused on you. And when that focus starts going elsewhere, that's when your mind starts to get scattered and you're all over the place. But you stay focused on you.
If you want to give a few tips to musicians who are watching this, what would you say? Like, what are the kind of things that you do on your social media? Posting every day, or like using hashtags? What are the things that you do specifically?
To be honest, this is actually something that I'm learning at the minute. This is all the hashtags and stuff and content, because obviously I'm currently in the process of releasing my first video and my first single.
Okay. So
I'm learning all about that now, whereas before I was just posting covers for fun, you know, and maybe to have a little social presence. So if I walked into a bar and give someone a business card, they could type my name in and say, oh, she's got some videos, yeah, she's okay. My thing is I like to do things in real life. So I like to tackle things head on. So instead of messaging a bar over Instagram where they have maybe 50 to 100 other people messaging them about God knows what, you know, walk into that bar strong, confident, and say, excuse me, can I please speak to the manager? And then when the manager comes out to say, hey, yeah, listen, I'm a musician, get yourself some business cards. That's one thing I'll say. Get some business cards. That's the best thing you could do, business cards. And just go into the bars, give your business card, say, listen, all my details are on there. If you want to check me out, check me out. And if you go in there confident, strong-minded, like you'll probably stick in that person's head. You know, they'll probably remember the confidence to be so ballsy.
I think you would definitely stand out if you walk into a bar.
Absolutely.
Say, I want to see the manager.
Yeah, excuse me.
You would definitely
and be so polite as well. Kill them with kindness, of course. But also have a standout business card. Like have a business card that's going to catch someone's attention, and have everything on there. Like whether it is your TikTok, your Instagram, your YouTube, like have all the things on there, your mobile, your email, just so that person can contact you. And even if they don't, and it might sit in an office for 2 months, but in 2 months time someone might cancel a gig and they might be going, oh God, what's going to happen? Oh, there's a business card for a musician, yeah, give her a call.
Very true.
You know, and they could take you up straight away, they could take you up in a couple of weeks, couple of months, but I think the best thing to do is go out there and meet people face to face. Go into bars, it's ballsy.
Nothing beats a real interaction, real human-to-human interaction. Absolutely agree. So in relation to releasing a song and social media, do you have any strategy, like releasing a song?
Well, I'm trying to come up with, I've been doing some research, and there people come up with, you know, sometimes like 30-day release plans, 21-day release plans, maybe some shorter, maybe like 7 days or 14 days. So right now I'm in the process of trying to figure out whether I want to do a 14-day or a 21-day, whether I want to drag out. It's about learning what your audience is and how engaged they are, and how engaged they'll stay, if they'll stay engaged for 21 days for this same content that's coming
100%,
out. So it's definitely something that I'm like freshly learning myself. But it's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of behind the scenes. Like you have to get just distributors and PRSs and licenses and things like that. But one thing I will say, like my producer Trash, you are absolutely amazing. Like he helps me out so much. If it wasn't for him, this song would not be being released. Like we've been in the studio for over a year and a half.
Wow,
doing this one track.
You've been working on the song for a year and a half.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's because I started writing it in lockdown, and then there's a few more things we couldn't meet up, and then just life got in the way. He started doing gigs, I started doing gigs, and And now we've had the time to go, right, okay, we're going to smash it. And then I booked the music video, so we'd have a deadline to actually finish the song because it was going for so long. So we finally, I'm actually still waiting on him sending me the last version of the track. So
that would be good.
Yeah, so I'm waiting on him to send me the final touches, and then it's hopefully going to be done in about 2 weeks. And
you brought up actually another interesting point. So do you have a cutoff line to say, because obviously you can work on a music forever.
Yeah, you can.
And tomorrow is going to be definitely better than yesterday.
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Yeah, so do you have like a cutoff line to say, because that's, I think, a question that like a lot of musicians have in their mind, that should I stop? Oh my God, I can make that one single tweak and make it 1,000 times better. So that's my question. Quality, obviously it's a compromise of both, but with social media nowadays, which changes the game slightly. Quality or quantity? And do you have a cutoff line?
I would say like my natural process, I wouldn't go, okay, this is going to be the cutoff date for this. But with this project, because I was like, this is taking the piss now, like we are dragging our feet. I'm actually sick of hearing the song. Like it was getting to the point where I was like, I don't even like this song anymore. You know when you hear something on repeat for so long. So I was like, this needs to be released. And all this hard work.
Is that me on the song?
It's not going to be for nothing. Like the song will be released. Like so it's with this project, I think it was a matter of me just losing my patience and going, right, nah, I'm sick of hearing this. Like, get out there so everyone else can listen to it instead of me.
So do you have a cutoff line then? Like, do you have for every project you have?
For every project, no. No, I think every project's different. You know, you have to take it as it comes. Some projects you could be done, you could write it in 25 minutes and record it in an hour and a half and tweak it for maybe 2. So that's one day, you know, but then there's projects, for example, this one song that we've been doing for a year and a half that has just took time and going back and listening to it and then taking a couple of weeks listening to it again and going, actually, do you know what? I think this would sound better over this, and having a critical ear. To me, I think the more time you spend on something, the more patience you give it, the better. But I just feel like in this instance, I've given off of my patience. I'm like, I'm ready.
That's enough patience.
Yes.
Right now.
The patience is gone.
So if you had to choose between them, which one do you choose? Quality or quantity? Because one of the
quality,
things...
100%.
Quality, 100%.
100%.
But the only reason that I ask, that you know yourself, that with social media being in place now, the more, because it's an algorithm, right? The more of you exist out there, the more exposure you would get, the more like reach you would have, right? So my strategy is, I would say, actually in a logical level, because my subconscious level still fight me back, saying no, quality. That's why you just find yourself like tweaking around a lot of stuff. But I think quantity is very important, because as long as it's a good kind of song that people can relate to, I want to put it out there, because as you said, it's an algorithm, and the more algorithm knows your name, the more of a reach you would have. In Google, Instagram, TikTok, whatever platform you want to name.
But then that goes back to, your algorithm might be out there on so many platforms, and you could be reaching 5,000 people, but you could have 500 really, really engaged followers who are going to share, like, comment, and really promote that content. Whereas these 5,000 could just see it and go, oh yeah, that was nice. You know, it's just an outreach. And I get what you're saying. It's planting those little seeds, and it's putting your name out there in people's minds and in their homes and on their phones and stuff. But I still agree with the quality.
My subconscious mind agrees with you 100%.
Yeah, I get what you're saying though about the algorithms. No, because this is a new thing. This is even a new word to me. Like the algorithms of the internet. Like it's bizarre. Like it's a whole new territory for musicians, I think. Unless you're like Gen Z and you're like 16, 17, you're coming up and this is just like life. This is what you've always had.
I agree.
But for us, like, I remember not having internet in my house till like 2010. So, you know what I mean? We were behind the times in Ireland, like, you know what I mean? Not caveman, but...
So do you rather have a record label, or do you rather to be an independent artist, and which one do you rather personally, and which one do you think is like better?
So I was actually having this conversation, I think, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And for me...
See, I can read minds.
Yeah. So for me, I think the independent route is the best route for me.
Independent.
I think that's more my route because I'm sort of settled and I sort of... When I studied a little bit in uni about the music business, not much, and I have a few, you know, friends in the industry and whatever that I can ask for advice. But when you're independent, you know, everything that you make is your own. You own all the rights to that content. Okay. All the royalties are yours. Everything is yours. When you go with a label, you know, a lot of labels, they will take 90% of your cut. They will own 90% of your content. And for some people that might be amazing, you know, because they will go, they'll pay for music videos, they'll pay for photo shoots, they'll pay for interviews and things like that, and they can promote you in that way. But there are also ways of doing that yourself. You know, going out there, as we said, going out there face to face and speaking to people, researching what people are doing, you know, podcasts and blogs and things like that, and what bars are showing, you know, open mic nights where you can go and play your own stuff. You know, there's ways of getting yourself out there without having to sign yourself away to a label. You know, the likes of Dave, the rapper, like I think he might even still be independent, and I know that Ed Sheeran was independent for a long time. Sure. And I think ideally my route would be is to stay independent for as long as possible until I got comfortable enough in the industry and in my craft that I could say I'll take on another artist and they can come in and this will be my label. You know, I wouldn't take 90% of their cut, you know, I'd do it fairly, but like that would be the goal for me, to get to that level where I know my shit, I've done my shit and I've done it all myself. Let me help you now. Let me take you under my wing and let me show you what I've learned, and then you can show someone else. I
100% agree, especially with everything about the label. But I think one of the problems with the label is the duration of the contract. You know, I think if it was maybe for 1 or 2 years, we would be able to use the things that they're doing for us and learn from it actually. But I think one of the problem is because the duration of the contract is so long that you would think like after maybe a couple of years when I start to hit it off, it's just gonna work against me rather than for me, right?
So sometimes with contracts as well, even if it is for a year or for 2 years, for example, say for like in my instance, if someone came to me and said, okay, Nat, we want to sign you tomorrow, we want to do this, and this, you're our artist, you're no one else's, you know, I would, what I like make my living off is my gigs, and I would no longer be able to do those gigs. So you're having to sacrifice that part, you're having to sacrifice your whole income. And like, what's your income going to be from this record label? 10%? 10% of what? Because you're only starting out as an artist. You know, so unless you are still living with your parents and you're in a comfortable position with that and you have other financial support, okay, maybe a label is a really good route to go down and it'll probably get you a lot of exposure. But if you're sort of doing it by yourself, I think that's the best route to go down, independent. Absolutely. Independent. I do.
Have you studied music?
I have.
What have you studied?
So I studied performing arts in college, which was a level 3 extended diploma, and that was music, drama and dance all in one. Great teachers there. That was probably the best education I've had in my life, honestly. The tutors there, Paul, Kelly, Barbara, Valerie, Noel, you have a really good memory. They were all fun. The reason these people stick in my memory is the reason that I'm here today. Okay. You know, these tutors have been better than, and I only spent 2 years with these people, and they've made an impact on my life. And you know, from being in school for 5-6 years before that in high school, and then 7 years before that in a primary school, never once have I bonded with teachers or connected so much with teachers and actually felt like I was learning something that I needed to learn. Of course, maths and English and science, whatever, is all very important, but these people have had a massive impact on my career. as an artist, and that's something that I'll always be so grateful for, so thankful for. And what was great about those tutors is they got to know every single student. They got to know their strengths and their weaknesses, and they push the strengths and they push the weaknesses as well. You know, they try to make you come out of your comfort zone. The amount of times I was given characters, I was like, are you kidding me? Is this really the character I've been given right now? And it would have been in like a man with a beard who maybe had like a wonky eye, and I'm like, I could have been a princess, but no, I'm the little goblin in the pantomime. Like, you know, they always give you challenges to overcome yourself, and that education was bloody fantastic, honestly. Going to uni was a much different experience because the classes are much larger, so the tutors don't actually have like the resources to get to know every single student,
of course,
and know their weaknesses and strengths and whatever. And you know, the music education that I had in university was more music business, and we had some like pop music lectures and stuff about, you know, like videos and how videos can like actually help, you know, streams of the song on Spotify. Because if someone sees the video and they go, oh my god, that was a sick video, even though they didn't really enjoy the song, they'll probably go and play the song because they remember enjoying the video. So they remember some sort of euphoria, so it clicks in their head. Sure. So there was things that we learned there that was very, very helpful. But in terms of like interaction and actual education, like college was amazing for me rather than university. But what I will also say is, as much as that training for, I think I've done 4 years at university and 2 years at college, that 6 years of training has absolutely benefit me so much, but also I don't think it's necessary.
That's actually was my next question.
Yeah.
Do you think it's necessary?
No, I really, really don't, because I'll tell you one thing, not one person in this music industry has ever said to me, babes, can I see your degree? Can I see your diploma? What's your GCSE results?
And you showed your skill, that's it.
Yeah, and that's what this industry is about, and we can go back to the education system and we can talk all about that. But no, you do not need a degree. You do, like, I've never had music tuition. I've had music classes where I've went and I've sat GCSE and I've learned to listen to compositions and whatever, and studied for exams, and I've had music business lessons and things like that in university. But I've never had a guitar lesson, a singing lesson, anything like that. So that sort of training is not necessary. Of course, practice your craft. You know, some people talk about the 10,000 hour rule. If you do something for 10,000 hours, you can master that skill. And while I think that is probably in some lights true, it comes with nature and nurture. You know, you can be born with musical genes, but no one is ever born Mozart. That comes with practice. Of course. So it comes with, I think, the genes and the practice together comes hand in hand. It's nature and nurture that get you to that place. It's not education. It's not having these degrees and these pieces of paper that says, oh yes, I can do that. It's about going and showing what you can do. And I also think as well, in this industry, it's about luck. You know, it's about who you know, meeting where you are,
people, being in the right place in the right time.
Rubbing shoulders with the right people.
Absolutely. Talking about genes, a lot of people might think, oh, it's not in my genes. And I know a lot of people who were sitting in their room and playing guitar, and they're like fantastic guitar players. I don't really believe in the concept of it should be in my genes or it should be built in me. It's just a matter of how bad do you want it. Do you want it bad enough to sit here for 12 hours in a row? You don't drink. I'm not suggesting you do that anyway, but I'm saying, do you want it bad enough to sit right here for 12 hours in a row? You don't go out, you don't meet friends, you don't go night outs and stuff like that, but you work on your craft. Obviously, there would be a reward later on. You wouldn't really be able to see it right now, but there will be a massive reward. And that there are a lot of, if you look at YouTube, there are a lot of songwriters that's how exactly they describe their career. Sitting at home, obviously at some point they went out and they made sure that they have the right skill and the right abilities. they went out and they made the right connection and been in the right place in the right time, met the right people.
Absolutely.
And they are
That's how you make
amazing
it.
songwriters and singers and instrument
So
players.
funny enough, what I actually done my dissertation on was whether you're born with musical genes or whether
that's very
you
interesting. Yeah.
adapt them over time,
Yeah.
and whether it is nature and nurture. And I think when I came to the end of my findings, what it was people who had musical genes in their family were more inclined to become musical, but that also comes with practice.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So as I was saying, nobody's born Mozart. Mozart wasn't born a musical genius. He was maybe born with a few musical genes that he worked on and discovered and found. But then also there is the theory that, say you're born into a family and you're the only musician, it's an anomaly. It's something that shouldn't have happened. It's like dimples, or one eye being one colour and the other eye being a different colour. It's actually like an abnormality in your genes. It's like a malfunction, but it works to your benefit. Like dimples and two different coloured eyes. It shouldn't actually happen, and it's happened by mistake. But you've benefited from it.
100%.
So what I found as well from my research is children as well, they have a lot of brain plasticity. So that's your brain when it's young, it's like an elastic band, and it can retain so much information. It's like teaching a child how to speak a different language when they're young. It's so much easier than teaching a 45-year-old adult, because their brain plasticity is like this, whereas a kid's is like this. So if you're teaching those kids young as well, you know, there's more chance. So if they're born with musical genes, if they're young, there's more chance of them learning that skill and learning it and practicing it and becoming that musician, if you know what I mean.
I think music it's not even about music, you know, whatever you want to do. That was actually my conversation with another musician, and we were talking about genes and stuff like that, and we were like, it's an absolute privilege. I said it's an absolute privilege to be able to be born in a family that the family is musical.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like a nourishing field that when you put a seed in it,
Absolutely.
it easily grow
Absolutely.
and blossom.
Absolutely.
But if not, it's definitely going to be harder for sure.
Yeah,
but
if
it's
you
possible.
think if you're going to try and plant a rose in a garden of roses, that rose is most likely going to grow. But if you want to plant a road in the crack of a city pavement, you know, where nothing, where there's no other roses, it's going to be much harder to grow that rose.
100%.
You know what I mean? So it takes hard work.
Absolutely.
This is where the work comes into it.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
So how do you usually network? For example, you said you found this producer that helped you in producing the first actually song that you're gonna release.
Yeah.
How do you network to find these people?
Just
is it
just
only
through other
face to
friends,
face,
yeah.
or is it the words
So-
of
so-
mouth? Or
Sometimes I get approached on the internet and people have said, you know, listen, I've got a beat here and I would love you to maybe write a little melody or write a chorus for me or anything like that. And 9 times out of 10, it doesn't end up happening.
yeah.
But when I meet someone face to face and they go, listen, I've got a project for you, I really want you to work on it, I'm more inclined to be like, yeah, okay, what's this? What's happening?
Yeah.
But I think with the producer that I've met a couple of years ago and that I've been working with, I've met him through friends and other friends that were gigging on the scene, and they were saying, oh, come to our studio, we have a producer there, and then I got friendly with him, and now we have a friendship aside from the other ones. So I think it's really all about getting yourself out there, like I said, and being ballsy and being brave and putting yourself out your comfort zone. You're never going to achieve anything in your comfort zone.
Very true.
You know, so put yourself out there. You know, start mixing with the people that you want to mix. Even if you're on your own and you want to go down and watch a singer that you're liking in the city, like go down on your own and go up to that musician and say, listen, I really like your work and I really enjoyed that gig, because I'll tell you what, it'll make their day. They'll probably go, oh, do you want to have a pint with me? Do you know what I mean? And it's about just making those little connections and being a friendly face to people, and then people will go, oh yeah, okay, I know him, I know them, yeah. And then you could send on your music to them, and it's all about just making friends, really, I think.
Absolutely.
And being nice to people, being kind. And also as well, when other artists approach you and say, listen, could you give this a share for me? Give it a share. what's it to you? You know what I mean? Help someone else out with their career, because
I agree.
one day that person might turn around and help you. And there is room for every single person
Absolutely.
in this world to be successful.
I think
So why should I deny anyone else of it?
absolutely, I agree. I think getting into that mindset that there is abundance out there, and it's not there isn't a lack of space for
Yeah, it's not like
to
there's
be
one
a
space
musician.
and one
Yeah.
space here and one
There's
space
only
here.
like 10 positions.
No, it's
I gotta
not.
just
It's
kick
not
everybody.
like
That's not.
that.
That doesn't work like that.
Think
There's abundance.
think how many people there are. And there's over 7 billion people in the world. And think, like, we could have 10 people, we could have 7 people sitting in here right now and ask all 7 people, what's your preferred music genre? And I guarantee you, like, most likely all of us will have something different. Maybe we'll have some things in common,
100%.
but everyone is different and everyone's taste is different. So I could be a folk artist or a rap artist, and I could see someone who's doing like rock and roll and they're smashing it, and I go, I'm not doing as well as that. But I need to understand that's not my scene. That's not my path. You know, you have your listeners, you have your followers, you have your audience, and it's okay. Maybe it's not that one. Maybe it's that one's exciting to you, but you know, work with your audience.
I can only be better than yesterday, right? That's the thing that I really believe in. Like the concept of comparing myself to somebody else is, I think, very wrong.
It's so wrong.
Because I don't know what they've done.
Yeah.
What kind of situation they've been in.
It's so wrong to
how
yourself.
much money they're spending in their
It's
production, whatever.
disrespecting to your own self to
I agree.
compare yourself to someone else, because you are who you are, and to say, oh well, this person has this and this person has this. Okay, well, there's 1,000 other people out there that have that. There's 1,000 other people out there that have absolutely like nothing. So keep to yourself, you know, focus on you, become the best version of you, and I guarantee you will have the best outcomes.
Do you have a mentor? Do you think that's important to have a mentor?
I don't have a mentor.
Have you thought about it?
I have thought about it. I have a lot of friends that would probably like to think they're my mentors, but I have a lot of I have about 7 different managers of all my best mates are like, yeah, I'm her manager. Yeah, I'm her manager. But I don't actually have like representation or a mentor. I'm sort of, as I said, independent. I'm finding my feet with it, and you know, my producer Chris Hughes is his real name. He's been helping me a lot, and I think we're both sort of finding our feet with it. He's a little bit more established than I am, and he's a wee bit more of a clue, but we're very much finding our feet with it together. So I don't know if it's important to have mentor, but I think it's very much important to have external feedback, even from friends or fellow musicians or people in the industry, because you know, feedback, like good feedback never hurts anyone, you know what I mean?
So do you think like having somebody who you look up to, for example, you say, I want to be there in 20 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Like having them in your life would benefit you in your life to be able to get where you want to get faster, because like obviously they have done their mistakes and they've done a lot of stuff like in different aspects, singing, songwriting, production, and licensing and everything.
Yeah.
Do you think that would be helpful?
I think absolutely in the logistics side of things, and I think as well, like if I'm thinking like the people that I look up to, who are like fucking Nicki Minaj and Beyonce and all these people, yeah, of course the exposure would be mad, and the advice that they would give you would be probably fantastic, but it's whether you can apply yourself to that. Is whether you can apply that to your life and actually make it work for you. Just because that worked for them doesn't mean it's going to work for you. But it doesn't hurt to have that coming in and have that feedback and have that guidance. Of course, it will be beneficial. But again, not necessary.
There are some challenges as a human being and as a musician in life. Okay, tell me a few challenges that you faced as a musician.
Oh, probably the Little Mix thing. That one hit deep.
Mentally?
Yeah.
Mentally.
It really did, yeah, because the way that it was sort of spun to me was all the producers were very much saying, you know, you're moving to London, you know, like find someone to watch your dog, you know, cancel all your residencies, like, or like you're moving to London, you're going to be in the Little Mix house and stuff. So I think that having the silver platter of everything you've ever wanted, and then someone going, actually no, sorry, that wasn't for you, mistake.
Mm.
You know, that was like gut-wrenching. That took a while to get over, like it really did. And then COVID hit. So COVID was another one because
Or was it before COVID? Yeah.
it was just before COVID. That was February 2020. So we went into lockdown in March. I think I had found out maybe 2 weeks before that I wasn't going to be on the show. So it was a hard one coming out of that, coming into lockdown. And
how do you recover? Because I know everybody knows that we do come across these challenges in life, mentally, physically. Okay, how do you approach overcoming such a thing?
Something like that it's very hard hitting, and a lot of people wouldn't understand because a lot of people also don't share the passions and stuff that obviously I do, so they wouldn't understand unless it was put in context of their own life. But for me, Little Mix was a band that I had looked up to, like from they started, from I was a young teenager. I grew up with them. I've evolved with them, and I think as well because I had been approached for The Voice before, and I had auditioned for the X Factor, and never got anywhere with it. I think I actually auditioned for Britain's Got Talent when I was like 14 as well. I never got anywhere with it, and I always thought, these shows are fixed. They're all for, Instagram models and people who are already on their way of making it. And the fact that I got to the next part and the next part and the next part, and it was time to actually meet them, and it was all like, oh my God, this is happening for me. I was getting myself excited, and I was like manifestations, speaking it into existence, like, no, this is happening for me, this is happening. And then when it didn't happen, like it was gut-wrenching. It was like, I can't even explain the disappointment in myself as well, because I was like, oh, I could have done better, I could have done this. And like I had to go to therapy and stuff after it. It really does play on your mental state. But one thing I will say about the show is their welfare team was incredible, and you had interviews with a psychologist before and after you left the show, which was really good, because that's what they wanted to focus on, to make sure that you were okay as a person. And the main producer of the show, when I got like eliminated, she was in disbelief. She was like, I'm so sorry, I don't even know what to say to you. Like, I've been filling your head with all of this. She gave me a personal phone number, and she was like, listen, I'm going to give you a call tomorrow and we'll talk this through, and if you want to cry, you can cry, it's fine. And I was putting on a brave face, of course. You're in front of cameras, there's about 9 different cameras in your face, and Little Mix too, so you're like, thank you so much for the opportunity, this has been amazing. And it genuinely was one of the most amazing experiences of my life.
From inside
but that was
really
walking
hard,
out of that room
course.
And going back to that hotel room and being in London by myself in a hotel room where I was just crying my eyes out all night. I just thought, this was going to be my big break. This was going to be it, and it wasn't.
How long did it take for you to recover from that?
I think I finished therapy maybe just before Christmas.
Just before Christmas.
So that was from 2020. Yeah, so it was like over a year.
Yeah, because this is actually a very good example, because a lot of people might look at it from outside and think, oh, that's good, you got a really good compliment from like,
of course,
for idols and stuff like that.
It was bittersweet,
but because when you expect it so much to happen, the mental crash that happens is just so hard. It's really hard to get out of it.
It was, because Little Mix's own manager, who was there, like sort of overseeing things, like she took just a little like shining to me. I think she liked the Irish humour. I think I made her laugh in the auditions and stuff. And before I actually went in, Little Mix's manager pulled me aside and said, listen, like, let me tell you, girl, you were born to do this. Like, this is your path. Go and show them what you've showed me and all the rest of the judges so far. Go and show them what you can do. And she did not have to do that for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, she could tell I was a little bit nervous, and she's put her 2 arms around me and she's like, you can do this. Like, I know you can do this. Like, the support from that was unbelievable. And the fact that I got to work with Little Mix's vocal coaches, with their choreographers, and work with them, like, That's something no one will ever be able to take away from me, and not many people can say that they've actually done that. So I'm so proud of myself in that sense, that I got there, and it was amazing, but obviously the end result wasn't what I wanted from it.
But that's very interesting. I think that's a very good example to see like how something that might seem simple can such a major impact.
Massively.
Us,
That rejection as well, and then not knowing whether, because you don't know what your face is doing. So like obviously there's these cameras, and it was going to be shown. I think it was BBC. Yeah, it was BBC, and it was going to be on like prime time Saturday night like TV, and you don't know what your face is doing when they're telling you like no. I think you should just be a solo artist. Like, I didn't know whether I was like smiling through tears, or if I was like anything like that. I don't know what my face was doing. I was like an out of body experience. Like, so even the build up of the show coming out, being like, my God, is this going to be aired? Like, is my audition going to be here? Like, am I going to have to relive that moment, that rejection? Am I going to have to relive it with the whole of the UK and probably other countries watching it?
Have you had like that kind of an experience?
So yeah,
that you go to a show or something like that those pictures and those sounds come to you and stops you all.
So after that, I remember I had to go back to Liverpool. I think I had a gig the next night as well. And I had to just go into that gig, and obviously had signed NDAs. I hadn't been able to tell anyone what was going on. I couldn't tell anyone. The only people that I was allowed to tell was like one employer, and that was like the main guy that owned all the bars. So I couldn't tell anyone what was going on. I was going in and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe. But then in the back of my mind, I was also going, you've just sang in front of Little Mix, had amazing feedback, and been told that you're born to be a solo artist. Why are you nervous about going into a bar where there's 30 people there and regulars that you know half of them anyway? You know, there was this sense of confidence that came with it, but there was a massive self-doubt.
Sure.
It was like both.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
We'll be back in a sec. So Nat, take me into your creation process. So let's say you want to make a song. What's the very first step that you do?
Oh, sometimes it's different. Sometimes you can start with like a melody on the guitar. Sometimes you could have a lyric going around in your head, and you could, you know, add to those lyrics and whatever, and then you go, oh, this would be really nice, and then you start putting it towards the guitar. So I think my process is it's a bit scattered. So if I'm going down the lyrical way, it's very easy to get so distracted because there's so many melodies that you can put to lyrics. There's so many melodies.
Sure.
So if I go down the melody route first, it's a lot quicker.
Yeah.
You know, because I've got my melody there, I've got my structure. I've got my structure of what I want from it, from the actual music of the song.
So you start with the melody first.
Melody is the best way to go. Sometimes it is lyrics, but then sometimes you'll have a melody there and you'll freestyle over it, and sometimes lyrics come out of you and you're like, where did that even come from? Like, what does that even mean? You know? But you flow with it, you sort of get what's good, you record it again and again, and I think it's one of these things. Sometimes you can write a song in 20 minutes. Like with the song that I'm just about to release, that was written in about 25 minutes. I worked on it in the studio for a year and a half, but there's been other songs that have taken me, 2 months to complete the actual writing on, and then there's songs that have taken me an hour. So it's all about, I think, where your focus is. So if you've got loads of different things going on and whatever, and you're really busy, your creative mind is cluttered
100%.
with other things. So
100%.
you need to be in the right environment, like clean your house, like put on some nice music, get some nice lighting on. If you want to spend a day being creative, like turn your phone off, like blank out the rest of the world and put your whole focus on. But this is what we were touching on, what we were saying before, It's putting in that work. Do you want to spend 12 hours where you don't see your friends, you don't go out, and you want to work on something? It's putting that effort into it. Anyone can write a song in an hour and 20 minutes, but it's whether that song's good or not.
Yeah, you know? Very true, very true. But as we said, it's just a matter of like
putting the work in.
Willing to put those hours in.
Absolutely.
And as you said, that focus is very important because if your mind is bombarded with all the information that are coming from outside, you wouldn't be able to have the focus that you need to be able to write.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to describe 3 elements that are very important in making it in music industry, what would those be?
Confidence, confidence.
Wow.
Okay. Fake it till you make it.
Absolutely.
I know so many people who are so successful and have the worst anxiety and like crippled with like nerves before they go on stage. They go on stage and they look like a breeze. They look like they are born to be on that stage. They are born to be on that stage, but they still have the nerves and stuff. So if you go out there and you have this persona of I'm the best, you know, I am the shit, you know, I have the most confidence in this room, you know, not only will you eventually start to believe it, but everyone else in the room will believe it. And that's all it is. It's confidence. Like your talent could be 30%, but your confidence could be 70%, and people
can compensate for that. Yeah.
What an artist! Wow, what a guy! What a person! You know?
I agree.
So it's, to me, it's confidence. All
because
confidence.
How I look at it, I think even if you bring this very different flavor to the table that a lot of people might not like, but if you stay enough,
you do it with confidence and you believe in
and
what
you
you're
stay long enough,
there,
that's going to be a new amazing flavor that everybody loves.
Absolutely, and I think as well, very important that you're having fun on stage with your music or whatever you're putting out there, and it's very important that you like it, and because if you like it and you're perceived to like it, you know, and you're having fun on stage and people see that, they're going to want to have fun with you. You know, they're going to want to enjoy it with you. They're going to want to jump on the hype train and be like, oh yeah, this is sick, this is fun, I'm having a good time.
I agree.
You know?
So let's say you're writing a song. You get the so-called writer's block.
Yeah.
Or it might be like writing the actual song or doing the arrangement or composition or any other stages of the making the music. What would you do?
Take a break.
Take a break.
Absolutely. Get out of...
A day, a week, a month,
maybe even just an hour, you know? Maybe it could be a week. Maybe if it's really, really stressing out, you're like, can't cope with this, no. Like, take a week, maybe take an hour break, I think. You know, I'm lucky enough, I have a little dog at home and I live by a park, so if I was ever sitting writer's block or even trying to learn a few new covers and they just weren't sounding right, you know, putting your headphones in and listening to some music that you do like and going for a walk for maybe an hour and just putting yourself in a better mood and taking yourself out of that studio setting where you're going, focus. You know, it's so good for you. See getting outside and getting like vitamin D and fresh air. It does wonders for your mind. Like not just your mental health, but your actual mind. You know, it clears it, resets it. In my opinion. So you go out there, you take yourself away from the environment that you've been working in. Go back. You've got a fresh mind. You're ready to sit down. Even go and have something to eat. You know, refuel yourself, refresh yourself, whatever. Have a shower. Sit down with a new clear mind to it. You know, I think that's probably the best approach.
Great. If you weren't a musician, or like let's say music career doesn't exist in the world, okay?
What would I do?
What would you do? Who would you be? Have you thought about it before? Or
I have. I actually have, yeah. Because my friends always ask me this because it's all I've ever done. I've always only ever done music. I'd love to go into fashion. I love clothes.
Okay.
I really, really love clothes. So I'd love to maybe go into fashion because it's still quite artistic. But also in uni and in college, I studied drama and I love acting. I absolutely love acting. So that's probably something I'd love to pursue. Acting or fashion, which I think they really complement each other. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They go sort of, they can go hand in hand. Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Like walking down a catwalk, it's a lot of performance.
Do you have plan B?
No.
No.
Plan A is working, so plan B doesn't exist.
Okay, so no plan B.
No.
So you don't have something in place like, so if in 10 years this doesn't happen, I'm gonna be like...
No, because in 10 years it's gonna happen. In
Okay.
10 years it's already
I'm not discouraging you.
No, I know.
I just wanna know what's in your thought process.
There is absolutely
Isn't
no
any plan
backup,
B.
and I think that's probably the key. If you think in your mind, okay, if this doesn't work, I want to fall back on this, and that's fine. I'll be safe on that. That's your wee safety net, and you're happy enough having that there. See if you don't have that safety net, and you're going, this is all I have. This is all I want.
You
this
put
is
your
all I'm working-"
100% in it.
Your drive for that is going to be so much more than someone that's going to go, well, if this doesn't work out for me, I've got another job there.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's the best thing for me to do is not have plan B. Stick to plan
I agree. But the thing is, obviously, people have different opinions on this. A lot of people do have plan B.
I think this is why actually, sorry to interrupt you, but I think this is why my mum was very much set on me going and getting a degree. She said, listen, once you go and get your degree, go and be the musician that you want to be, but as long as you get your education first. So I think in her mind, I have plan B because I still have that degree, I still have that education behind me and whatever. So in theory, I sort of do. I mean, it's still a degree in music and drama, so I don't know what else I would be doing with that. But
there is actually a quote from, you probably had or seen it on social media, that Arnold Schwarzenegger is a bodybuilder, that he says, I hate plan B.
I've never actually seen that, no.
No, it's actually, I love his quotes and stuff things he said, because I think these are important insights from people who made it in whatever career, because it can be really encouraging to other people in every industry. And he says, I hate plan B because plan B literally means that if plan A doesn't work, I'm going to go to plan B. So if I know, as exactly what you said, if I have the kind of mindset that I said, this is the only plan, I'm going to put my 100% in.
Of course, yeah. It's common sense, I think, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe just someone with a driven brain, but I've always been like that, always been driven. I've always known what I've wanted career-wise, and I know, even if it doesn't work out, like, I'm even saying that wrong, until it works out, like, I'll still be 40 years of age trying to make this work. You know, I'm not going to stop until I get there. That's my opinion.
So as a human being, we have mental and physical challenges. We talked about it before. So how do you keep those ratios of mental and physical health in certain levels? Do you do exercises? Do you do meditation for your mind and soul, or like regular exercises for your physical body?
I think because I gig so often and sometimes I could double up. Recently I have been taking a little step back, sort of looking after my health and stuff. But I think it's important because the job is so physical. You know, I'm on stage, I've got like a stomp pedal and I'm playing, and I play quite an upbeat set. So when I come off stage, I'm sweating, it's a lot of cardio. So it's very important on your days off, like, not to be pushing yourself to get out there and exercise, but to actually challenge yourself to rest and lay down and take that time for yourself to get your energy back up, recharge the batteries, you know what I mean? So I think in that sense, it's good to relax. With your mind and stuff, what you're saying, like meditation it's so good. And
do you do it?
I try. I really try. Even sometimes my form of meditation, it's just putting on some nice music, cleaning my house, and like doing whatever I like to do. Like that puts my mind in it puts my mind in a nicer state, and I feel better about my day and stuff. So I think sitting and meditating, it's quite difficult for me. My brain, it's very hard to focus and clear it all out. But I think that's being a musician. There's so many things.
I think that's one of the challenges nowadays, because especially as we just go back to it again and again and again, and talking about social media, you're bombarded with different amount of information, paying the bills, paying the rent, this and that, and all the things and responsibility that you have in life. You're surrounded by them and compressed by them. But my personal opinion is it's crucial to be able to have that little moment during the day, whether it's going to be 10 minutes or 15 minutes or half an hour to be able to reset.
Absolutely.
Push that reset button.
I think self-care is very, very much, like, it's so important, because if you're a knackered musician, you get up on stage, you're going to do a knackered gig, and that audience is going to know that you're knackered, and it's not going to be the energy that you want unless you can put on a brave face or down a drink and give you a wee bit of, spark. You need to look after yourself. You need to take those rest days. You need a couple of days off. And sometimes I see some of the boys on the scene doing like 4 and 5 gigs in one day, and I just think, you are mental. Like, what are you doing to your body? But fair enough, make your money, do what you want to do. But for me, I can't do that anymore. Maybe when I was 19, I could have done it and pushed myself. But I think at that point, I was very much just excited to be on the scene and like just living in it. But another side of keeping healthy, because you're constantly in a drinking environment, you're constantly in an environment where people are out getting absolutely pissed, and it's so hard when the gigs are fun and it's a vibe and it's like, oh yeah, everyone's having fun, everyone's having drinks, have a drink, and you can get into that habit of having a drink. If you have a gig every day and then having a drink every day, it's not good for your health. So sometimes saying to yourself, okay, it's work. You're not going into work to drink. Okay. Or even setting yourself, okay, I'll have one, but take a break or keep an eye on what you're drinking, because sometimes people can get lost in that. I've seen it happen to a lot of people where they're doing amazingly on the scene and their gigs are booming, and then all of a sudden they just get too much into the ale and it starts to sort of decline a little bit for them.
What is it, something that you've been wanting to do it for a while, that you say, okay, I'm going to start next month, or I'm going to start next month, and it's been going on for a while? What is it?
It would
is
be
there something?
Releasing music, releasing my own stuff, because I haven't actually done that before. So this is the one thing that I've been like, right, this has been on my mind for like maybe 2 years now, maybe longer, where I've been like, right, this needs to happen. So only literally just last week done a video and we're getting finished in touch.
So you want to pick that one then?
Yeah.
So I want you to promise to yourself, in front of the camera, that I'm gonna do this, whatever you want to name it.
Yeah.
Do this in that month or in that week or in that date. Ready?
Okay, we'll see in November. If I haven't released my single, you can personally come for me.
So she has promised us that in November she's gonna release a song. That's good.
Absolutely, November, it's coming.
Great. What do you think the music industry is going toward? Like, how do you see the future of music industry? Because you've seen obviously the journey of it being on vinyls, relying on labels, and going to an era right now that is independent. You can do everything in a computer.
Yeah.
And it's so much. I don't want to really offend anyone who does be in the computer, because it does take a lot of knowledge to be able to do it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I would assume that it's became easier.
Yeah.
Right? Because you don't really need all those expensive equipments and all those people. You can still do it. And it's happening like Max Martin. He's a clear example of somebody who's done it at home as the so-called bedroom producer, and he's out there and making a career out of it. So how do you see the music career in 10 years? What do you think happens in 10 years? How are we going to listen to music? What's your prediction?
I think it's kind of the same as fashion. Things that go out of fashion, like 10, 20 years, maybe even 30 years later, they come back into fashion and they come around again. Like right now, vinyls are so popular.
Yeah.
Like vinyls were never in my lifetime growing up. I never listened to vinyls. I listened to tapes or CDs. And then as I got older, it was MP3s and it was iPods and things like that. So I think we're going to go in circles, because right now people are wanting to release tapes. They're wanting to release these vinyls and stuff, because there's these what we call like hipsters and stuff these days that want to live like an old school life and go back to the good old days and stuff. And I'm all here for it. Like I have a vinyl player in my house. Does it get used? Probably not, but it's a nice decoration, because it's connecting music 100%. From the past to the present day. So
I think it gives that kind of an energy. Sorry to interrupt you. I think even that device gives you some kind of an energy.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
like
you were saying.
even having like I have guitars and stuff on my walls, and it makes me, if I'm sitting having a cup of tea in the morning going, oh, we'll have a lazy day or not, and then I look on the wall and go, no, do some work. You know, it's an incentive.
Yeah,
It is. But as for how we're going to be listening to music in the future, I don't know. Like, I think streaming is very much taken over, and that's how people are making their money, and that's how people are getting into the charts now, because it's not CD sales.
I'm interested to know what's going to happen after streaming.
Yeah, after streaming, I don't know.
that's like a very unknown future to me.
It is.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
In 10 years, how old will I be in 10 years? 35. 5 years from retiring, because I want to retire at 40 and I want to be successful. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to be
retiring meaning that I don't want to work. I want to mentor. Or
no, I just want to have the option to retire at 40 if I want to. I want to be financially stable, and I want to be successful in my career. I want to be exactly where I want to be. Like 10 years time. Maybe living in Liverpool still. I'd love to go and travel around America and California and LA and New York and see all those places and see if I could get my name out there. But really, man, I'm just going with the flow and hoping for the best.
In 40, you want to be retired.
40, I want to have the option to retire, to be comfortable and like, yeah.
So when you write a song, is there usually a personal message that you're trying to get across, or is it something that usually you see in other people's lives, or how does it usually happen? Is it personal? Personal
very
experiences?
good questions. It all just depends. Like, I've written songs about some of my friends and just things that I've seen happen in their lives, and you know, I think it's nearly like a personal journey, or personal journal, sorry, of your thoughts. Sometimes a song can be, you know, one of my friends I was quite worried about for a while, and instead of like going to one of my other mates and being like, oh, I'm so worried about this person and so worried about this, or even, you know, going at them and being like, I'm worried about you, I'm worried, you know, I wrote this song, and I don't even know if I've put music to it, but I have all these lyrics on my phone about one of my friends and hard times that they've been going through, and you know, as much as that's a personal song, it's not actually about me, but it was my personal feelings at that time. And then there's other times where you're freestyling and things come out and you start singing love songs and you're like, who the hell's this about? Because I don't know who I'm singing about at the moment, you know. Just maybe lyrics that fit nicely with other lyrics and nice words, and you know, it's poetic, if you know.
That's actually very interesting. Sometimes the songwriter is a so-called transmitter of the emotion, rather than just someone who sees or someone who expresses himself or herself. He or she, the songwriter, is a transmitter of those emotions that comes to that person. That's actually very important and interesting point. So, last words. Do you want to say anything that you feel that you want to share with others about your personal journey, about yourself?
I think the key is to just, as I said, have that confidence in yourself. And if that confidence isn't there, fake it. Just fake it. Pretend it's there. Tell yourself it's there. Put on some Kanye West or Megan Thee Stallion or Nicki Minaj and stand in front of a mirror and tell yourself how much of a bad bitch you are. You know, fake that confidence. Like, hype yourself up. Tell yourself you're confident. Go and make those connections. Step out of your comfort zones. Hand those business cards into bars, because you know what's going to come from it. I know. Oh, so what? You know what I mean? Try again. Just, I would just say to people not to give up. Really, just follow. If this is really what you want, and you don't have that plan B, follow it. Yeah,
there you go. I'm gonna put her social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and other platforms down below. Make sure you go to her platforms and give her a follow. And her new single is gonna come out on November, as she promised us.
It is.
So
November.
See you soon.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for coming again, and hope to see you again.
Absolute pleasure, man. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.